Today's pose is Virabhadrasana II, or Warrior II. And this is a very common pose that you'll see performed is not the word, practice. You will see practiced in a lot of yoga flows or classes. And it's very common, very common. So what does it do? It strengthens your arms and your legs. It stretches your groins, your chest, also your arm muscles. It stimulates abdominal organs, increases stamina, and improves your focus. This one, I love this position because it's a really good position to demonstrate that relationship of push and pull, give and take that you have to do when you're in this asana. There's a lot going on, and really it looks simple. And of course, if you want to go more in depth, it probably is simple, and we're just making it harder than necessary. But it's not simple. Mind-blowing, I guess. So, how do we get into it? Standing on your mat I set this up this way to try to give you a better angle of how I'm doing it, and I'll turn sideways to demonstrate some different things, some tips here. If you are, of course, able-bodied and you are able to do this, this is feet together, hip width apart for me. And then this would probably be, maybe shoulder width apart, which is slightly wider than my hips, depending on, your body structure. Yours would be different. So usually coming into this position, you'll be told to step back with one foot and then turn your body. So I will demonstrate that for you. So say I'm in a yoga class and the instructor says to step back with your right foot and then plant your foot, and as you plant your foot, you're going to turn at a 45-degree angle and stretch your arms out at 90 degrees and bend your left foot, okay? So while you're in that position, here's one thing to think about as far as alignment. And I realize that not everybody is going to be able to do proper alignment for whatever reason, right? But I will say that doing the best you can do to get your body in the proper alignment will give you the best benefit out of that asana. And that also does not mean to force yourself in that position either. I'll explain. When you first start, your feet are parallel to each other. You're going to turn one foot out 90 degrees from the other. And I've heard there's two different ways where it's almost like your heels are touching and you're just extending one out. But I've also had it explained where this heel is in the middle of your foot and then stretching out. So I'll do it both ways here. You're going to step out as far as is comfortable for you. Don't step out as far as the instructor tells you to, because that's what they can do. And if that's not within your range of mobility to do, then don't do it. You'll just end up causing yourself more pain. So stepping out as far as comfortable for you. And again, the sensation is the destination of where you're trying to go, not, it's the sensation, but at the same time, you're not chasing the stretch. You gotta let it happen. As soon as you feel it and there's a sense of discomfort, then stay in that discomfort. Don't go past that feeling, because then you'll just end up hurting yourself, and nobody wants that. So with your feet as far apart as is comfortable for you, you're going to take your back foot, whichever one that is, and you're actually going to rotate the toes in or the heel out, however way, it's basically the same thing, about 45-degree angle. So while this one is forward, this back one will kind of cut at a corner, if that makes sense. And you don't want to rotate your foot and rotate toward the inside of your arch. Try and push your heel, if you can, that way to the outside of your foot. Your knee, this is a big one. Your knee, when you bend it, a lot of instructors will say to not bend your knee past your toes. The reason for this is, in this posture, bending your knees past your toes can put more strain on your ACL. So having your knee perpendicular to your heel, your foot, is safer, is the word I use. It's safer. You're not going to put too much strain on your knees. Now, I will say, as a side note, having your knee over your toes is not a bad thing, not at all. When you squat, when you walk up and down the steps, when you sit down in your chair, when you get up from the toilet, your knees go over your toes. So this, if it's a temporary movement, that's fine. Bring it back a little bit. You see what I mean? Now, where your knee is, while it is over your toes, while it is aligned with your heel, your ankle, a lot of people tend to rotate that leg in or out, and again, that can cause strain on the ACL and your kneecap. So you want to try and aim this knee, whichever knee, towards your second toe. Your hips, this is one that a lot of people tend to, people can tend to have issues with. I won't speak for a lot of people because I don't know. You want your hips to be centered. Here's what I mean. If I am in this position like so, I don't want my hips like that. I don't want to be too far forward. I'm not striking a pose. You know, I'm not doing this. I'm not sticking my hip out this way. So what can you do? One thing you can do is imagine your hips as a bowl of water. And while in this position, and this is part of the whole give and take thing that I was telling you about earlier. While you're in this position or any position, if you feel like your hips are too far leaning forward, if it's a bowl of water, what's that water going to do? It's going to spill out. So simply tuck your tailbone down, and that will level your hips. Sticking too far forward, tuck the tailbone. You're just leveling out your hips. And you may, because I do, you'll feel it in your hip bone on the other side, like way deep down in there. This is not a bad thing. And of course, if it hurts, back off. Make it a little bit easier for you to get through the position, even if you're standing here. So I'm here. I need to level. Bring my tailbone down. That might cause me to bend my knees. That's okay. I don't have to be straight-legged, straight angles to get the benefits out of this asana, because that's not the point. But proper alignment, even if you are not straight legs, straight angles, you can still reap the benefits and the rewards of being in this posture. So, I'm here. I'm not here, not like this, not like this. I'm centered. One thing you can do to help is kind of imagine you're in a squat position, okay? You're gonna turn this foot out, 45-degree angle, straighten, line, over the ankle, second toe, boom. You got the bottom part. Top part, your arms out at 90 degrees, perpendicular from the floor. This way, like so, okay? You don't want your shoulders hunched up. You don't want to be hunched up. You don't want to be too far up, too far down. And again, also allow your body to go in a position that is comfortable, easy to access, even if there is discomfort, because eventually you will be able to breathe and work through that discomfort to get better, to level up, if you will, to be where you want to be. And this applies to outside of yoga, off the mat as well. So you bring your arm 90 degrees and just imagine you're stretching to both sides of your body while being stable here, here, here. It's a lot, right? And that's where your focus comes into play, with looking over your middle finger toward the front. Bring your gaze over your fingers. You already got a lot going on here. If you bring your gaze here and count your breath if you have to, concentrate on that. It will allow, that's where the improving of your focus. Eventually it gets better and you increase your stamina and you're able to hold this position for longer. So you're here. And if you notice, I am not anything like what some yoga enthusiasts and influencers on Instagram and TikTok, I don't look like they do. I don't have to. The point is not for me or you to be like them, or me, or you, or anybody else. The plan is for you to do you and what is best for you. That's what you do. Try it. Let me know if it works. Let me know what doesn't work for you. Let me know what you struggle with. And also, I will say, anything you find online, as far as from maybe an influencer that will have pictures and videos of them being in such a position, but maybe they're not explaining how they got into that position, how to get out, which I'll tell you that as well. You kind of have to take what they say and what they're doing in that video at face value, myself included. We don't know each other's situations, but so I got interrupted. That's why that video got cut the way that it did. So, my point. When you're in that position, you can see how there's a lot of give and take that you have to do in order to find that balance that will allow you to put your focus in one point and to your focus and your concentration. That's where your breathing will help come into play. And of course, meditation as well. If you want to apply this concept to off the mat and in the real world, you're on the mat and in a position that requires you to give and take. This is the same in the real world. If you find yourself in a situation that maybe is too much, too hard, very stressful, maybe it's work, maybe you're out in traffic, dealing with a family member, dealing with a stranger, whatever the situation, there's a give and take to interactions with other people out in the real world and circumstances and situations. This is no different when you're on the mat and you're in this asana. And I hope you'll stick around and continue with learning to do these different postures, because I hope that you'll see what I'm talking about with the give and take and how it's a challenge. But at the end of the day, at the end of the practice, you've learned something, right? You learn something about yourself. And that's all that matters. Thank you.